housekeeping out of the way. So a bit about me then. So my name's Alicia. I am a counselor and a mental health and wellbeing coach. I'm passionate about empowering mothers in particular when it comes to their mental health and wellbeing. The reason why I am passionate about it is because I'm a single mother of two. I was uh, told I was having a baby at 17 years old. I had my son at 18 years old. He's 22 now, and we have been on quite the journey. So I have two children, as I said, and I recognize that I suffered with postnatal depression with both of my children. And so when I first had postnatal depression, I don't even think I recognized that that's what I was experiencing. Being a Black woman of a certain community, I carried this strong Black woman, you know, trope that we seem to have. And I thought, I'm just gonna stick it out. I'm just gonna get through it. But the truth is, inside, I was very overwhelmed and I had many a breakdown. And so with that, I had to figure out life. I not only had to figure out life, but I had to figure out life with a baby in tow. And not only did I have to figure out life, I had to figure out how to become a woman while raising a child. I was still a baby and I had a baby and I didn't know what I was doing. I was stressed and overwhelmed. So I went to the doctors with my second child when I noticed the signs again. And I said something doesn't quite feel right. I don't really feel myself. I feel really teary. I feel really overwhelmed. Feel really like I just can't keep up. Everything just is a bit on top of me. What can I do? And I remember being handed like a pile of leaflets, just leaflets upon leaflets, and just being signposted and almost felt like a bit of a nuisance, like go over there and maybe they can help you, or go over there and maybe they can help you. And so I said to myself that when I get to a point where I can help other women who are struggling, like I have struggled in that particular moment, I'm going to do it. So what I did is I became qualified in counseling and I created Inward Parenting, which is a nonprofit organization that I recently started to help support mothers with their mental health and well-being, and also provide practical strategies to help support them in terms of how to deal with finances, um, how to deal with children when they challenge you, various different things. And we have a program that we will be phasing out soon, and I'll tell you a bit more about that shortly. Okay, so aims and objectives. Today, we're gonna get really real. I'm quite a real person. I would say that in counseling they call it congruence. I would say I'm very open and transparent about my journey. And so we're gonna understand where overwhelming motherhood expectations come from. We're gonna learn strategies to manage pressure and embrace a more balanced mindset. We're gonna identify and challenge mom guilt by recognizing unrealistic expectations and practicing self-compassion. I feel like that's important as moms. We don't give ourselves enough grace. We're going to reframe negative self-talk and replace feelings of not doing enough with affirming positive thoughts. And we're going to develop practical strategies to balance work, parenting, and self-care without feeling overwhelmed. We're going to learn effective communication techniques to connect with children in a way that builds trust and understanding. And the reason why that particular point is there is sometimes when we are moms, we can become so overwhelmed that the connection between us and our children can sometimes become a bit ruptured. And so we're going to talk about ways in which we can repair those. And most importantly, last but not least, we're going to provide a safe, judgment-free space for experiences to be shared. So everything that we say here is completely judgment free. This is a holding space for moms. I am a mom. I know what it feels like to be a mom and have the weight of the world on your shoulders. And I also know what it feels like to have the weight of the world on your shoulders and people judge you for it because they feel like you're not doing a lot. Enough. Get over it. You'll do fine. So yeah, this is a judgment-free space, and I need to make that very, very clear. So I'm going to start with something to get us more engaged. Um, and it's a question that we will cover throughout this session. And the question is, and I want you to put this in the chat, I want you to write what you think is one unrealistic expectation that has been placed on moms. And then we'll have a quick discussion about it. So in the chat, if you can, please do write what's one unrealistic expectation society places on moms that you wish just could like change. What is it? What do you think? Oh God, I hate that. I wish we wasn't like soaring that way. I wish we didn't have that pressure. What is it? And I'm gonna refer to the chat. I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes just to do that. So if you could, that would be amazing. See. Wow. Okay. We have some coming through, hence my wow. Okay. So Sophia says that we should be doing it all alone. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I think that it it can be a bit shameful when you ask for help as a mom, especially as a single mom. Um, it can almost feel like maybe I shouldn't be asking for help. Maybe I should just kind of figure it out on my own. But there might be needs where you feel like I just can't do it alone. But there might be a hesitancy to reach out because when you do, again, there's judgment there. So yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Um, their main priority is the child. Once they have become parents, everything must revolve around them. Ooh, yeah. Okay, so this one I can 100% resonate with. I feel like once you become a mom, it's almost expected that you lose your whole identity. Like, I felt like when I became a mom, the Alicia that I once knew just kind of faded into the background. I didn't even know who I was at 32 years old when I finally decided to go into therapy and figure things out. um, I felt really lost, like I didn't know who I was. All I knew it was that, well, I was a mom, but I didn't know anything beyond that. And I think that's because society kind of says that once you're a mom, everything should revolve around them. So I can definitely relate to that. All moms should know everything, Roy. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the truth is there is no manual. It's cliche. People say it all the time, but it is the actual truth. Sometimes there were maybe times where you don't actually know what you're doing, and that's okay too. It's okay to ask another mom for help. It's okay to reach out to someone who maybe has a bit more insight and a bit more experience. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to know everything. You're a human being at the end of the day. And there's no way of being a perfect mom. It just doesn't exist, and therefore you won't know everything. So Mabina says, being perfect at everything when juggling so many roles. Wow. So I can definitely relate to this. I think society has changed. Um, we're now in a society where moms are working now, right? We're working. I remember being a mom working full time. Then I would have to come home and put the dinner on. Then once I've done the dinner, then I'd have to do homework. Then once we'd done homework together, then I'd have to do the get them in the bath, get them in the shower, and then, engage with them and obviously have that quality time. And then before you know it, it's bedtime and you haven't even got any time for yourself. And so it's hard to find that balance, especially when you're playing all of these roles and having to do all of these tasks. Sophia says, not being valued for our contributions as women and mothers. It's all kind of expected. Oh, yes, I can I can definitely relate to that. And I think one of the things that I had to recognize about my mom is I felt like she didn't do enough, right? And it wasn't until I had my own children that I recognized my mom did the best that she could with the tools that she had at the time, right? It almost felt like when I was younger, I had to replay all of the moments where I felt like I was being entitled, right? My mom should be doing this for me. She should be doing that for me. I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask to be here. But the truth is, mothers are human beings going through their own experience as well. So as much as, moms have to be moms and be present and do all of these amazing things that moms do, remember that your mom is she's a person too. And show her grace. And a Paval says, pressure of doing the same thing that others moms do. Yeah. Or have the children develop and learn the same way as their peers. Okay, let's talk about it. Because sometimes as moms, we will look around our social circles and we will think that person's child is so well behaved. I wish my child was like that. You know what I mean? That person's child knows their ABCs already. I wish my child knew that. And so we become these moms that start to compare and contrast. Um, and it can be unhealthy. It can create a lot of like resentment and guilt in us that society says that when your children get to a certain age, they're supposed to be academically in a certain uh, position, developmentally in a certain position. And so it can put pressure on you as a mom, like, okay, am I failing? Like my child isn't potty trained yet. Am I a failure? So I can definitely understand and relate to that. And Sophia, she says, my mother used to tell me, you will understand when you have a child. Oh, yeah. I think my mom used to say that, but I used to think, whatever. And I can totally understand that now. You don't really, who feels it knows it. That's a saying in the Caribbean community. If you don't know it until you experience it. And motherhood, I think our moms kind of make it look easy, but the truth is it's not easy. It's a very, very challenging, um, yeah, it's a challenging role. And it comes with a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility. So, thank you for your engagement. I really, really appreciate that. Um, we're going to move on now to what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a portion of a video that was created by Sprout, and it talks about how having a baby can affect mothers mentally. I won't play it all because we only have 1 hour, but I would like to play it so we can see how times have changed. So yeah, we'll play the video and I'll stop it um at some point. Just bear with me. Hopefully I've shared the sound. If you can hear the sound, I haven't played it yet, but please give me a thumbs up. If you can't, thumbs down, and I can reshare it. Can you hear the sound? No. Okay. Bear with me. Okay, technical difficulties. I'm going to stop sharing, then I'm going to reshare. So bear with me. Bear with me. Okay. Tell me if you can hear the sound. Thank you, Simone. Thank you, Mabina. Any changes?
When you become pregnant, carry a baby, and give birth, you undergo what is likely to be the most transformative experience in your adult life. You become a mother. For thousands of years, this metamorphosis occurred within the tribe of the extended family, where other women who have had that experience were able to provide physical care and offer mental support. There was a village to raise the child. Today, You may embark on this journey alone. As a result, you may feel lonely, anxious, or severely stressed. 5 factors can make your journey to motherhood miserable. First, and most obviously, pregnancy alters the female physique. Your body changes. Your feet may grow, your eyesight might deteriorate, and the child's birth can painfully damage your body. While some discover a deeper love for themselves, or develop a new connection to their femininity, for others, these changes can be hard to accept and recover from. Your mind is affected by hormonal fluctuations. Your estrogen levels, which act like a mood stabilizer, tend to increase tenfold during pregnancy. Then, right after delivery, they drop sharply and return to preconception levels only 3 days later. This often results in intense mood swings and may even trigger depressions. Then there is your baby, a tiny human being you must protect and nurture, often day and night for years to come. The ongoing crying might push you to your limits, and if the baby falls sick, you may feel worried and helpless. And while many mothers also feel an overwhelming amount of unconditional love for their newborn, others need more time for these feelings to develop, a realization that can be deeply disturbing. Then there is the loss of your old self. You might have had a thriving career or a vivid social life before your pregnancy, but with childbirth, all of that comes to an end. For those who feel unhappy in their new role, the loss of their old identity can be daunting. You may wonder if you'll ever lead a normal life again. And if you do return to your former life, you may be labeled as a bad mother. Lastly, there are overwhelming expectations. New mothers are expected to instantly bond with their baby, master breastfeeding, take care of their partners, regain their pre-pregnancy bodies, and seamlessly balance work and family life. The societal pressure to do all of that can lead to intense feelings of inadequacy. Add to these factors the severe lack of sleep, constant nighttime feedings, diaper changes, and hours spent soothing a baby, and it's not surprising that you may, at times, wish you could go back to your old life. Some mothers may also develop dark thoughts, often accompanied by feelings of shame and guilt. This maternal mental stress can range from mild forms of baby blues to postpartum depression up until postpartum psychosis. Baby blues refers to light mood swings and feelings of sadness within the first few days to weeks after childbirth that typically resolve on their own. It's often the direct result of changing hormones and affects up to 4 in 5 new mothers.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. You will have the resources moving forward, guys, so don't worry. You can watch it all the way through. But I'm conscious of time. The reason why I wanted to play that specifically is because I wanted to talk about the unrealistic expectations that are placed on mothers, and so that's what we'll be covering today. And hopefully we can change your mindset on how we move forward with that. So let's talk about the perfect mom myth. It's a myth. It doesn't real. It's not real. It's not. It's not real. It's not realistic. And so I like to deal in what is real. And so being a mom is one of the most rewarding roles, but it's also filled with unrealistic expectations, right? Society often expects moms to do it all perfectly, which is leading to stress, burnout, and guilt. And today we'll explore where these pressures come from and how to let go of unrealistic expectations. So let's talk about some of the things moms are expected to do. So moms are expected to be nurturing, patient, um, they are expected to be a successful professional, a loving partner if you have a partner, or to do it solo, right? I think someone touched on that in the chat earlier. We're expected to just kind of get on with it and do it on our own. A chef, a housekeeper, event planner, and chauffeur. Um, we wear all of these different hats. Yeah, the Pinterest perfect parent. So everything should just be right? Everything should just look perfect when inside you're breaking down internally and you're overwhelmed. Mom should always be available, but never overwhelmed. I remember when my kids were at a certain age where once they were fed and watered, I would go in my room and I would say, no one bother me for the rest of the day. Like, leave me alone. Seriously, because sometimes you just need to disconnect from your children, right? When they got to a certain age and I knew they were self-sufficient, it was like, okay, I've fed you, I've watered you, now it's my time. Please, please do not disturb me unless it's an absolute emergency and the house is burning down. Mummy's trying to have her time. And so the reality is that this is impossible for anyone. Expecting perfection leads to stress, guilt, and exhaustion. And so it's not possible for you to do everything and be everything to everyone. Another reason why I wanted to play the video that we had just watched is because I needed you to understand that what you're feeling is very normal, right? The feelings that you have are very normal and many moms experience them, right? The problem with expectations is they come with a lot of guilt, right? You can start to feel like these things are expected of me. However, I can't deliver them. I can't give them. I'm at capacity emotionally, physically, spiritually. And so then you start to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing my best. I'm not doing enough. And so that's where the term mom guilt comes in. So it's a term describing the feelings of guilt, self-doubt, or inadequacy that many mothers experience. So when they feel they're not meeting certain parenting expectations, these feelings can stem from personal beliefs, societal pressures, or comparison with other parents. Maybe you're in a culture or a community where the mom's supposed to just do it all and the dad goes out and he works and he provides. But we're in a different age now, right? Sometimes it's okay for dad to step in and alleviate the stress of moms if that's something that, you're lucky to have. But I recognize that this is a forum where, we're focusing on single moms. And so you may not even have the external help from other people. It may not be possible for you to just pick up the phone and say, I'm going through something. Can you help me, please? You may just have to try and navigate those feelings on your own. And so that's where mom guilt can also kick in. Um, Mom guilt might look like feeling bad about working outside the home, not spending enough time with children, not enjoying every moment of parenting, or not always feeling like the perfect mom. So let's talk about like working mom. So one of the things that I had to do when I was on, and I still do it now, I've always worked, right? I've always worked, right? But that meant that my children saw me very little, right? I was having to take my son to nursery, take my daughter to nursery while I go to work, and the nursery staff telling me about all these amazing things that my child had done throughout the day, showing me all these amazing drawings and pictures. And so now I'm sitting here thinking, am I doing the right thing? I feel like I'm missing out on so much. I feel guilty. I feel bad, but I still have to be able to provide for my children. So it's about trying to understand that, sometimes sacrifices have to be made, but making up for the time that you miss in other ways. And so maybe on a weekend or once a week, you designate certain periods of time just for you and your child to bond and connect, right? The perfect mom, right? I think a lot of the societal and cultural expectations often, mothers have to kind of uphold. Um, we have to sacrifice and we have to nurture endlessly and we have to be the cook and the cleaner and do all of these things because society paints this picture when you look outside on TV or social media, you see all these perfect Instagram moms. And I think to myself, how is her house even immaculate? She has 5 kids, like she has white furniture, cream walls. How is that even possible? I must be a rubbish mom. So, I think it's about being realistic. and understanding that social media and the things that we see in society aren't always real, right? Um, Work-life balance. We talked about that. Working mothers may feel guilty about being away from their children, while staying at home moms may feel like they're not contributing enough financially. So, there's guilt on both ends. It's never ending. And personal expectations. Many moms set high standards for themselves and feel guilty when they fall short of those ideals, right? And so let's think about it. The expectations we think are external sometimes can be internal, right? And they may be rooted in the external pressures that have been placed by society and other outside influences. But the truth is that when we uphold those, it now becomes a personal thing, right? Society says that I need to cook every single day. I'm internalizing that now and I have to cook and clean every single day. But when I don't do it, I feel guilty, right? Sometimes you really just need to be like, actually, I can't do it, right? Chippy tonight, kids. Simple. And don't feel guilty about it. I always say if it hasn't fit in my day, I don't have time for it. And sometimes you may not have time to cook a meal for your child, but as long as they're fed and watered, I wouldn't worry about it. Is any of this resonating? Quick check-in. I'm conscious of the fact that I may be babbling. So please do, if you want to post anything in the chat as I speak, please feel free to do so. Okay. So overcoming mom guilt, right? So we're going to look at a few statements moms who are experiencing mom guilt may think, feel, or have. Then we will highlight what this really means in reality and how we can reframe these thoughts and feelings into more uplifting and positive ones. So if we look on the screen from left to right, let's have a look at one of the statements. So one of the statements says, I'm exhausted, but I feel guilty taking a break when there's so much to do. So I know for a fact as a mom, sometimes when I didn't fold all the laundry, I used to think, oh, but I'm tired. It's like a constant battle. I need to do the laundry, I need to do the cleaning, but actually I'm tired and my body needs rest and my body's telling me it needs to rest. So how can we reframe that? It's about understanding that this is a thought that's basically telling you like you feel like you're not doing enough, right? And so maybe just reframe it by saying, I'm providing for my child in the best way I can, and my love and effort are enough, right? You're doing enough. And I'm going to keep harping on about this. You are enough. You are doing enough. Okay. And so, second statement then. All the other kids have two parents at home. Am I robbing my child of something important? This is for the single moms out here. I have been a single mom for 22 years of my life, right? It's not been easy. And I haven't always had, you know, a co-parent to connect with and collaborate with when it comes to parenting. I just haven't had it. And that's just been a hard pill that I've had to swallow. And so sometimes you can see moms out there with their two-parent families creating these amazing children and these amazing families. And sometimes you can feel like a bit of a failure because, you know, I'm out here doing it by myself and my child, they deserve a father, but it just wasn't the portion that I was given, right? And so it's basically about comparing yourself to other moms and other such situations and circumstances. But think about it like this, how can you reframe it? Every mom has her struggles, right? Even the mom in the two-parent household has her struggles, right? Sometimes, and I think a lot of people don't recognize this, and I'm sorry for the men in the chat, but sometimes having an extra person like a man can be like having another child. It's a fact. Like it can be having a grown child as well. So don't think that she's not going through it. She is. She's having to navigate being with another person. And also, there's going to be a difference of opinion, Maybe, the mom wants to parent in one way and the dad wants to parent in another way. That's still a challenge that they have to navigate, right? Um, just understand that your situation just looks different, but she still has her own challenges. And so understand that you're doing what's best for your child and and that's all that matters. Sometimes it's not healthy to stay in a two-parent household. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices and say, actually, being with you is more damaging. And so I have to walk away and I have to choose me. Sometimes people don't have the luxury of choice. Sometimes situations and circumstances mean that actually I have to step away. I have to protect me. I have to protect my children, right? That's real life. Okay. And then the next statement is I feel like I'm always behind. There's never enough time to do everything my child needs. Ooh. And this is essentially struggling to balance work, parenting, and personal life, right? Um, So, one of the things that I will talk about is my own experiences because I feel like that's what I need people to understand. Like being a mom, it's kind of it's relatable, but it's not until people share their experiences that you begin to understand actually she's been through it too. So one of the things that used to irritate me about school is they used to send a letter to my son used to pop up with a letter last minute and it was like, I'll have a trip next week. It's £15, mummy. And he's looking at me like, can I go? And I'm thinking, I haven't budgeted for this. I don't have it, but I gotta find it now, right? Or, it's World Book Day. Mummy, we gotta create a costume. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't even have the time to make a costume, right? I used to have these last minute stressful moments where I'd pick my son up from school if I even had the luxury or after school club, and he would be handing me letters. And I think, oh my gosh, how am I going to find the money? How am I going to find the time? How am I going to do this? Right? But I had to do it, right? So it was a constant battle for many, many years. And even though World Book Day came around the same time every single year, I got stressed out about it because what am I even going to do for World Book Day, right? So, yeah, think about it like this. If you always feel like you're behind and you're not doing enough, reframe it. See it as taking care of myself isn't selfish, right? If you need the nap, take the nap. It makes me a better mom. I deserve rest too. So you deserve to rest, moms. If you're at capacity and your body's shutting down and you're tired and you're overwhelmed, just be still. Like that's your body's way of saying, I'm tired. Are we going to rest now? And if you're not okay, then your children are not okay. So I'm going to see a couple of things in the chat. Sophia says, I've been a single mother for 2 years and feel sad sometimes when I see other parents working as a team. Absolutely. And guilty that I have to work twice as hard to make my child happy. Um, I get it. Like I totally get it. And I think one of the things that used to happen for me, and I'm not saying it happens for you, is I used to be frustrated with the person I had children with. I used to get frustrated with the fact that I decided to have children with this person. I used to beat myself up about decisions I didn't have the power to change, right? And we need to stop doing that. It's not healthy. It's not helping anyone. The truth is you are where you are. And how can we reframe your thought process to say, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm a good mom and I'm waking up every day for my kids and I'm doing the best I can. And that is enough sometimes. Sophia continues and says, and I never really know if I am doing enough. You are. Let me heart it. You are. If I could heart it like many, many times, you are beautiful. You are. Believe me, my son is 22 years old, right? I had my son at 18 years old, and many times I felt like I'd failed him. But the truth is, as he got older, He told me, you did the best you could, mommy. You're a good mom. He was shocked. I said, I had a conversation with him and I said, I feel like I wasn't a good mom to you. He says, are you crazy? You was a great mom. I had a good childhood. The whole time I was suffering and he didn't even notice really, right? So Shakira says being a single mother does not mean that your children are unhappy. So true. Doing your best will be what makes them happy. They see it. It's so true. When you feel like you're not doing enough, believe me, you're like your child's superhero. You really are. You really, really are. Let me also heart this. If I could heart all these comments. I'm loving all these comments, guys. I really am. Kayon says, I would be frustrated that they got to be the fun parent. Oh, let's talk about it. So, yeah, that's the reality. You'd be the mom in the household day after day, implementing the discipline, the rules, the structure. Then, you might be in a dynamic where the other parent would pick the child up, go and have an amazing time, and you know, it almost feels like I want to be fun too. I want to be seen in that way too. I totally get it. And it's not always an easy space to navigate when you're not seen as a fun parent because you have to be the one that's more structured and orderly. But the truth is that down the line, kids will always thank you for the structure, believe me, right? So I have another question for you. I feel like we've talked about like the expectations that are on moms, but I really need you guys to sit and think about like if I could really sit and think about like one strength that I bring to parenting that I'm really, really proud of and I'm grateful for. What is it? Drop it in the chat, please. You know, one of the things that I would say is I do bring humor to parenting. Sometimes I have to laugh to stop myself from crying at the best of times. But yeah, maybe you're patient, maybe you're resilient, maybe, you know, you're a great cook, maybe, you're a good listener, maybe you're a good teacher, maybe you bring leadership skills to parenting. Like think about it, like what strength do you really bring to motherhood? And we'll discuss those briefly. An hour goes by so quickly. I've got 15 minutes to get through a few slides, and I really do want to get through them, to be honest. Um, so I'll let you guys write those, and I'll carry on, and then we'll come back to them, right? So let's talk about how to break free from unrealistic expectations, right? So it's all about challenging unrealistic beliefs. Perfection is not required to be a great mom. It's not like a requirement. You don't have to be perfect to be a good mom. It's not something that you need to do. Set boundaries. You don't have to say yes to everything. It's okay to delegate. If you can't do it, delegate it. If you have children of a certain age, I encourage you to teach them how to do things like fold the clothes, right? Wash the dishes, right? I know my house on Saturdays is a collective effort. My son does the hoovering, my daughter cleans the bathrooms, and I do the laundry. And we literally have certain tasks that we delegate between us because this is a joint effort here. This is a single parent household and everybody has their designated chores. Okay, ditch the comparison. Social media is a highlight, not a real. It's not real life. Ditch it. The mom that looks so amazingly all put together, um, and her house is immaculate. I can guarantee you that split second of the day is the only time that that's really happening. The rest of the day, she's probably experiencing very much an upside down house like the rest of us. Okay? Ask for help. Accepting support is a sign of strength, not weakness, right? You don't have to feel like, oh, I'm a failure and I'm weak because I'm asking for help. This is why inward parenting was created. This is why I'm here, sat before you as a counselor, as a mom who was a single parent, because I want to be able to help moms like you, right? And the more we can come together and create spaces like this, the better. Prioritize self-care. A well-rested, happy mom is better for her children, right? So any 10-minute naps that you can get them, right? Any quick, coffee breaks you can get, hot drink breaks you can get, take them and don't feel guilty about it. Let's go back to the chat. We're talking about the strengths, right? Humor and a listening ear, Mabina, is a strength that she brings to motherhood. Absolutely. Patience, Sophia says, and pushing myself more than I could ever imagine. I had the strength to make life better for us. That's beautiful. And I resonate with that. Like, you have no idea. I really do. Um, it's moving on. Kayon, giving my child space to be vulnerable and express herself. Wow, that's important. That's really, really important because the number one thing one of the most important things we could do is really allow children to just be children and be open and honest because mom needs to be a place of safety. And safety feels like security, right? And in order to feel secure about being open with mom, I need to be able to be vulnerable. Kayon continues and says, I didn't get to have a voice as a child in a Caribbean household. Woo! Oh my gosh. I know. I hear you. Believe me, I come from a Jamaican parent household and children should be seen and not heard. That was their motto back then. Break the cycles where you can. And good for you, Kayon. And Shakira says, yes, my son has his chores list every week. Absolutely. See, this is the thing. We always kind of put the chores on the young girls. And I know this doesn't happen as much anymore, but you make sure your son knows how to do a thing or two because, ultimately he's going to end up being with a person or a partner of their choice. And you don't want them to be the person that's like a burden in the household. So absolutely love that. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for those comments, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Um, so we're going to touch on practical strategies, right, on how to balance uh, what you're going through, right? Things that you can do to balance the many things that you're going through. Um, so balance is not about doing everything, it's about prioritizing what matters most. So think about time blocking. Set clear blocks of time for work, parenting, and self-care to ensure each gets attention. For example, work hours, unplugged family time, and me time. So maybe you can block it out in a calendar or something, and you put those particular slots of times in just for those designated areas. I know life gets in the way, but where you can, try it. Might work for you. Learn to say no, right? No is a complete sentence. You can say no. You don't have to explain. So avoid overcommitting to activities, events, or responsibilities that drain your energy. Ask yourself, is this necessary? Does it align with my priorities? And if it isn't a priority, then you have every right to say no. Delegate and ask for help. Involve your children in household tasks appropriate for their age. Ask family, friends, or even professionals for help when needed. There's no shame in outsourcing, right? There's no shame in it at all. And micro self-care. The reason why I say micro self-care is because we're single moms. We don't always have the finances to do things, but self-care doesn't need to be extravagant. Small acts matter. So things like deep breathing, right? Taking 5 deep breaths in and 5 deep breaths out and being still for like 5 minutes can really, really change the way your day carries on. A short walk, right? A walk in the park. I know I love a walk in the park. Listen to your favorite song. I love to go to the park and just put my headphones in and listen to my favorite songs, right? And 5 minute journaling sessions, they also help because when you write, it's a release, right? Embrace imperfection, right? It's accept that not every day will be perfectly balanced, and that's okay. Done is better than perfect. I did it, right? It might not be perfect, but I did it. And focus on progress, not perfection, right? So I feel like I'm blasting through these, but I'm really loving the engagement. Um, so Kayon says, I enjoy my adult thriller book. Absolutely. I love those. I really do love them. I love the intricate designs in them. So absolutely. I think that's amazing. And continue to do it. You'd be surprised how much you're able to just release when you're being still. And I think a lot of people don't realize that's a form of meditation when you're just being still doing the things that you love. It's really, really healing and empowering. So we're going to talk quickly about communication and improving communication and connection with your children. And the reason why we're going to touch on that is because sometimes when we're overwhelmed, we can lose connections with our children, right? And I think it was Kayan, if I'm not mistaken, who mentioned earlier the importance of having uh, her child be able to have a space where they could be vulnerable, right? It's important. So key strategies, active listening, put away distractions and give full attention. If you have a child that's of an appropriate age or a certain age, um, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be a certain age. If your child's able to engage with you and interact with you, just put away the distractions and give them your full attention so that you can say, Mommy wants to talk to you and see how you go, like what's going on? Are you okay? Just doing those check-ins can really make the difference. Validating emotions instead of dismissing them, right? That is so important, right? Um, what I will say is, moment of transparency. My mom didn't really understand the importance of her just being present when I was upset, right? She didn't understand when I was crying, it was like, oh, you're a bit of a crybaby. Oh, get over yourself. Oh, and it created a lot of like avoidant attachment styles in me because I felt like I had to self-soothe. I got used to self-soothing. Um, and so as a result, what happened is I ended up having relationships, not just intimate ones, that there was breakdowns because I didn't know how to really open up because when I tried to open up with my mom in the past, I got rejected, right? And when I really tried to show vulnerability, she would reject me. And so I ended up becoming guarded. Um, Creating safe spaces for open conversations, absolutely. That's always important. Using positive discipline, focus on teaching, not punishing. You know, when I would take my son's PlayStation away, I would say, this is why it's happening. Um, and so it didn't feel like he was just being robbed of this technology and mum's like, a complete bitch, how dare she? It was like, no, you haven't done this, you haven't done your homework, you haven't cleaned the house, you haven't done these things. And so this is why this has been taken away. Are you clear? Do you understand? Um, and practice reflecting your child's feelings. So, for example, if your child says, you never listen to me, you never listen to me, mommy, instead of reacting, mirror back. Say, I hear you say you're feeling unheard. Like, tell me more. Like, I'm hearing you say you're feeling unheard. I'm sorry about that. Like, tell me more. When kids feel understood, they open up more. That's just plain and simple. It's not just children, it's anybody. If you feel like you're being heard and understood, you're gonna feel safe enough to speak more openly and freely. Um, the next one. We've talked about the active listening, so I think that's pretty much the same slide. I apologize. But I think what I will say is this, right? Parenting is your superpower. This is why this is called the Supermom webinar, right? This is your superpower. You may not feel like you're doing enough, but you're already an amazing mom. Like you are, because you show up every day. You're already an amazing mom because you show up every single day. Your child doesn't need a perfect mom. They need a happy, healthy, and present mom. That's it. Progress is better than perfection. So keep moving forward one step at a time, right? That's all you can do. So I'm going to leave you guys with this. And I always close these sessions with this. Parenting isn't about being perfect. It's about recognizing struggles, seeking help, and making small changes that will build connection over time. You don't have to be perfect. I'm going to say it over and over again. You don't have to be perfect. If I could get a microphone and just be like to every mom, you don't have to. It's not necessary. right? Um, I'll leave you with this story. Um, Today or last week, there was a lady, young lady in the shop, and she bought a bunch of stuff and she put it on the counter, and he rang her up. And I think in that moment, she had a child with her. He was about 2, 3 years old on her hip, and she was a young mom, and she couldn't afford everything that was placed there. So she said, "Put that back." And so he rang it up again, and she realized she still didn't have enough money. So she said, "Put that back." Right? And so she did it about 4 times. And so the fourth thing that I noticed that she kept for herself was a little toy that her son had picked up. He wanted it, and she had to put it back. Right? And in that moment, I'm seeing this happen, and I'm behind her in the queue, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like she's not even able to buy the toy for her child, right? And so me being me, what I did is I ended up paying for the toy so that the child could have it. But the reality is there's gonna be times where you're gonna have to make sacrifices as a mom, right? And so those sacrifices are gonna look like imperfection. You're not always going to be able to give your child the toys that they want or the latest shoes or clothes that they want. But the truth is, from when your kids are fed, watered, and taken care of, you're doing enough, right? And so sacrifice sometimes looks like that. So I just want to thank you guys for joining today's session. I really do appreciate your openness and willingness to explore this subject with me. As I said, we offer support and guidance. And there are my details on this particular screen. Inward Parenting are going to be doing amazing things moving forward, and I'm excited for you guys to see what happens moving forward. One of the things that we will be doing is a 6-week parenting program. So if you enjoyed today's session and you found the insights valuable, you should know that Inward Parenting will soon be launching a 6-week parenting program. The program is free and fully funded. The program is designed to deepen everything we've explored today and help you build a secure, loving connection with your child, right? And in addition, you'll be looking at things like attachment styles, and we'll be looking at personal and professional development. We'll be looking at financial literacy. And then because we love moms so much, for all the moms who fully complete the program, there will be a self-care day that's fully dedicated to you being pampered, right? So there will be facials, pedicures, manicures, that type of thing. We're going to pour love into you guys. This is me, 19, 20 years old, trying to pour love into you guys from a place where I didn't have it, right? And this is why I created this company. This is why I created this program, right? So, yeah, I love it. Um, we have a few minutes. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions. I feel like if you do have any questions, please, please, please put them in the chat. But know this, that next week we have Roy Pinnock, right? He will be delivering next week's session. I can kind of take a back seat now. Roy's in the chat for those of you that don't know. He has over 20 years experience in counseling. He supports single mothers like us to help us kind of learn and grow in terms of mental health and well-being support. And you'll hear so much more about him. And I'm excited for the next session because it's going to be really, really uplifting and empowering. Give everyone a wave, Roy. Oh, you did it already. Okay, good, good, good. So yeah, Roy will be here next week, and I'm really, really excited about it. And it's really about uplifting and empowering, and what self-care looks like, and what parenting challenges look like. So please, 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 do come and see Roy next week, and I will also be here next week. And if you want to get in touch with me and connect with me on social media, then absolutely do so. Can I ask you a question, guys, before you run off? One of the things that I need to do um, moving forward is continue to have funding for this, right? We need to continue to have spaces like this. So if you have your phones, please scan the QR code, give me session feedback so that we can continue to let funders know that this is something that moms need. Um, so if you have an opportunity to do so, please do that. I would really appreciate it. It's going to be so needed. Simone says thank you. It was such a good session. I missed the first week. Couldn't get logged in, so I'm hoping someone will send the recording to me via email. I thought I did, Simone, but let me double check, figure out why uh you haven't done that. And Kayan says, I second Simone. Is it possible to get last week's recording? Absolutely. I'll send you it. It's on YouTube now. I'll send you all the information that you guys need. But you know, in the meantime, take care of yourself, and I'll really will see you guys soon. If you haven't scanned the link, please do scan the link and get your feedback. You can connect with us on social media at Inward Parenting, um, and you can speak to me at any time you like. I'm available to you. Absolutely. So take care, guys, and I'll see you all soon.